presidential inauguration special coverage of the 2023 inauguration of the president-elect and the vice president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima. Got some insights into the state of Abuja today with the ceremony, under close watch. Right, one day we usually look forward to in this country with all the presidential parade and all the display by the military and all of that. What a bit of slight changes here and there due to some security concerns and some allegations here and there of people planning and strategizing to undermine the situation. But we know that the security agents, they are equal to the task. Okay, we go straight to our first segment today on the show. As I was saying before that, Technical H, Barrister Greg Iyai is a public affairs commentator. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
We also have with us here the president of Network of Civil Society Organization, Comrade Emmanuel Ogbidi. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Sir Njika. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, let's quickly. A whole lot has happened in the last couple of days, weeks leading to May 29. One day we've always been looking forward to. Is there any reason to doubt that this incoming administration will change the fortunes of Nigerians? One major thing that I've heard people talk about is that there is a need to have the Federal Executive Council constituted immediately without delay, because a whole lot has happened with the previous administration. People want to see a clear-cut departure from that. Nigeria on the trajectory of development within the shortest possible time. But there are also concerns about the state of the economy and all of that. Let me begin with you, Barrister Greg Iyai.
Well, I think the first question you put forth has been constitutionally taken care of, because Buhari, in this two like this, did sign an amendment to the constitution that the Federal Executive Council must be constituted within 60 days. And let's hope that takes care of that. And I also believe that the incoming president would have gotten his kitchen cabinet together, done some work, and then obviously position certain people for certain positions. So I think it will be faster. I think we will get the Federal Executive Council much quicker than we did in the last time. Buhari had his own style, and then let's see how there will be a departure from that style. And then also, I think in the area of the economy, what I'm even most concerned about is people's response and how it will affect the president mobilizing, because the economy is about people. And he must convince the people that he is their president, and the people must be convinced that he is their president. And then I think things will move faster if that is the case. If the people do not go with him, then I don't see the issue of the economy being fixed very, very quickly. Because it's not about government alone or the people that are in power. It's also about the people.
All right. Comrade, you want to share your thoughts along those lines?
Yes, very quickly. I want to first of all congratulate Nigerians for being able to survive, these past 8 years of the outgoing president.
Okay, you've gotten your survival certificate. I heard that certificate.
That's
something that has been trending online.
I think that is the only thing, I think, or that is one thing Mr. President did not do. He would have graciously issued all Nigerians certificate of survival, having survived his administration. But thank God for Nigeria, they are already issuing themselves certificate of survival because it's a big testimony. The only thing is that people are not seen to be very happy, unlike what we saw in 2015, being anxious for a new administration. We are not seeing that now. People trekking from one distance to another to inauguration and all of that, because perhaps they are not very sure of where they are going into. If where they are coming from will be better than where they are going into, or where they are going into will be worst of all. Having said that, you see, whether we like it or not, we are going to have a new administration before midday today, or at midday. It is expected ordinarily that, having seen the circumstances that surrounded the pre-election, election, and even the post-election period, that the new president will understand that he has a greater work to do to convincing the entire Nigerians that, first of all, his administration is about the common people. Because it has been about the elite, it has been about the who is who, the political class, and all of that. And we ask a question: what is the good of any administration if the common man in the street cannot feel such an administration? And very quickly, Nigerians will want to know that if for the past 8 years they have been in darkness, in this new administration, why they are paying for light? Will they still be in darkness? Nigerians will want to know in the shortest possible time, are we going to have a Nigeria where bag of rice is not higher than minimum wage? Will I be able to buy a bag of rice if I'm just a civil servant who lives ordinarily only in his salary? Nigerians will want to know, will this administration be immediately able to resolve security challenges that have bedeviled many parts of the country? And Nigerians also want to know, in the economic aspect of this country, will this administration reserve the political will and the courage to make policies that will rejuvenate the strength of the naira? And you ask a question: Dangote refinery just came up. Will this administration reserve the courage to say, for every export of Dangote refined crude, the exchange rate and the exchange mean should be in naira? That will reverse the trend or the free fall of our naira? What are the courageous steps that will be taken by this administration? Because whether you like it or not, it took Mr. President more than 5-6 times to contest and tell Nigerians, I want to rule Nigeria, I must rule this country. And today it has come to an end, and everybody is like, is this what you wanted to do?
Okay.
That you said, give me power, give me power. Is this all that you had in mind to do for this country? And now we've given you power, this is the end of it. So let's see something different.
Okay.
Within the shortest possible time. That is what Nigerians want.
All right, Barrister, talking about something different, the president-elect has, over time, told Nigerians that he's going to build on the legacy of President Muhammadu Buhari, the outgoing president. And many a times, the outgoing president has apologized to Nigerians that he has not actually done enough for the country. And Tinubu is telling us it's going to be a renewed hope. Renewed hope from where to where is the concern of many Nigerians now.
This is where I'm a little bit worried. And even if I'm optimistic, I am cautiously optimistic. Because, one, I'm worried about the democratic culture.
Okay.
Because that is the foundation when we are talking of the economy, we are talking of security, we are talking of development. Will the democratic culture actually be enthroned? Because it's not about benefiting from democracy. Yes, some people have benefited from democracy, but they are not Democrats. The number one thing I would like the incoming president to prove to us is that he's a Democrat. Democrats, in the nature of people like Umaru Yar'Adua, the late Umaru Yar'Adua, President Jonathan, that if democracy says this is what should operate, I will go along with it. So I'm worried about that, because if that democratic culture is not imbibed by our leadership, the Nigerians, I must praise them. They have imbibed the democratic culture. But I'm concerned about our leadership. And that is where the crux of the matter is. Democratic institutions, the executive and also the legislature. And then, as for Buhari, you see, he is the outgoing president, and I feel that it is very, very sad that he has to be apologizing. Because he gave people so much hope. He tried many times. And then he was almost called Mr. Righteousness and the man of integrity and all that. Why should you, at the end of 8 years, be apologizing for failure? Were you doing the experiment with Nigerians? And are we condemned and consigned to people experimenting with us? If you don't have what it takes, then you should not look for power. You don't get power and then you start looking for what it takes. You should have what it takes before you seek power and before you get power. So it's very annoying, and Nigerians were taken for granted. Anyway, Nigerians saw this. Some Nigerians saw this long ago, but they will almost be mocked if they spoke. You know, that really not much is going to come out of this man than some of his contemporaries in the army, like Babangida. They were bold enough to say it.
Okay, but all that belongs to the past.
To the past.
Okay, however, we can't just let the past go like that without touching some areas. Now, to you now, Bidi, the incoming president, a lot of attention is on him. Who are going to form his cabinet and all that. Where we are seeing Gbajabiamila Amila around, walking around, and people are presuming he might be the next chief of staff. But however, looking at the Federal Executive Council now, the immediate past council, Adamu said he doesn't know anything about education, and he was saddled with the responsibility of leading the educational sector of this great nation. Festus Keyamo came up to tell us that this junior ministry doesn't exist. And he was in that constitutionally, and he was in that capacity for 8 years.
8 years.
Are we going to see a reputation in the Bola administration?
Well, you see, it is our earnest expectation that a lot should be done differently in this administration. Like what my elder statesman here said. You see, in President Muhammadu Buhari's time, it took almost a year to constitute his executive council. But somewhere in the western clime, you see, before inauguration, you already see the president-elect telling you this person is going to take over these offices, this person is going to take over these offices. Why? Because they prepared for power. But many a times, the kind of leaders we have, they don't actually prepare for what it takes to govern, to rule the nation. So they get there and start preparing what to do. So it is our expectation that he already has a team on ground. He already has persons that he can choose and appoint in key positions, like the economy, like power, which is not supposed to experience any form of leadership vacuum. But you see, these days, appointment has been reduced to mere political compensations. And that is why you see agitation, lobbying, engagement, and all what have you. That is what result to many a times delays to all of this appointment. But where you want to take the best of the best, whom have proven themselves in various aspects of the economy or of science and what have you, even if they are not within your party, even if they are not the usual politicians, it will not be difficult to appoint within the next 2 weeks and 1 month. But when it has been reduced to mere political compensation, what did you contribute during the election? Did you win your unit and your ward and your local government? That becomes a criteria. So even if
it's already playing out in the House of Assembly.
even if you have what it takes to deliver in that office, that's evil criteria, or that's a bottleneck process, political agitation. Not such individual of, and Nigerians are the detriment of such decision. So if you look at that, we will be able to say that this administration should do something differently in appointing those who will take off in the executive council. And also, just to add, participatory governance. We had a lot of experience in last administration where things are done without effective and due consultations. Policies were made, and we have policy somersaults because Nigerians were not consulted in policy making. So at this point in time, we want to see beyond governance. We want to see participatory governance. We want to see Nigerians involved in the affairs and the day-to-day running of governance. We want to see the legislatures as well involving Nigerians in policy making. Let's take the tools of public hearing. Let's take the tools of what have you. You know, before you make any laws, Nigeria should have input.
All right, let's
that is what we encourage this administration to do.
Let's pause it there. Ambassador Gogiai, quickly share with us your thoughts as it relates to some of the feelings in some quarters that the president-elect has had a very robust history of living up to expectations in terms of getting quality personalities, professionals, people who have made impacts in their chosen profession. In Nigeria today, we can point to so many people that has come under his tutelage. He brought them to limelight, and in a large sense of it all, they actually didn't disappoint, or they've not disappointed Nigerians, so to speak. Leveraging on that, isn't that a good pedestal for us to presume that the president-elect will live up to the expectations of Nigerians? I heard somebody say when he became governor of Lagos State, people didn't give him a chance, but he proved all of them wrong. Are these not enough for us to have some confidence and some belief in our president-elect?
I would disagree with you a little bit. The reason being that it's not enough to have around you people who are gifted or who are capable. Fashola was one of his political proteges. It is up to you to tell us whether Fashola succeeded in the 8 years he was minister.
So you tell us. You tell us. You tell us. That's why I asked you the question.
The power sector.
Yes.
The roads. Can you travel from here to Ekpoma? That road is a federal government road. What of from Benin to Warri? When he was Minister of Power, what happens? How many housing units had the federal government delivered to the common man? So these are, you see, what are the results of these people being in power? We could count on one or even the second Niger Bridge was the conception was that of Okonjo-Iweala and Mike Onolimeme. So I mean, we thank God that I must give Buhari credit for that, for not abandoning the project simply because it was not started by him, as many chief executives do. So the outgoing administration did not lack skilled people that were in the cabinet, but the political will to deliver and the vision of the leader. Yes, Lagos State is easy for anybody to succeed in Lagos State. Lagos State is loaded with money, it's loaded with cash, it's loaded with human resources. But again, ask every Lagosian, the performance of Tinubu and the performance of Fashola and the performance of Ambodi, you will hear something different from what you are talking about now. Because it is what affects the common man on a daily basis that we are talking about. Was life easier under Tinubu than it was under Fashola and under Ambodi? When you come, the manufacturers, the movers of the economy, they said they were being bled to deaths. Their businesses were dying. Excessive taxation, the burden of taxation, and that they were punishing people just to reward, area boys. To reward area boys. So these are the kind of things that we are agitated about. Yes, he has killed people around him.
Okay.
But will he aggregate their wisdom, their intellect, their gifts to actually serve Nigerians? Because one of the things about the incoming president too is that the issue of political patronage, reaches zenith under him.
Okay. Ima, give us your take on this too. Political patronage. I know you talked briefly about that, but we know that in governance, you must be able to bring all the eggheads, put the square pegs in the square holes, round pegs in round holes. I mean, people questioned Barrister Fashola, SAN, being the Minister of Power, Housing, and Transport and Works. These are critical infrastructures. You probably want to compare that to when someone like Architect Mike Anolimeme was the Minister of Works, and then you just backtrack a little bit and see others who have had such a ministry. Or we had the likes of Professor Bart Naji as Minister of Power.
Yes.
I mean, these are core professionals. So give me your take in that direction, particularly against the background of the fact that the man that is to be sworn in today has a sense of history of getting the right people to come on board. I mean, even in the last administration, we had a certain young lady, Kemi Adeosun, who was the Minister of Finance. You can make a comparison of the economy, the finance department under her, compared to the present minister, as it were. So we are not in short supply of the quality persons to.
Sadio Kozo,
yes.
please don't bring in Kemi Adeosun
at all. The truth still remains. The truth still remains that, many a times we've said and we've argued, Nigerians have quality people in various fields of endeavors.
Okay.
We have professionals in the medical field, professionals in the agricultural sector, and what have you. People who can handle the economy and do well. But the question, and the very big question and concern, is, does the leadership of our country reserves the political will, courage to jettison patronage and partisan affiliation or ethnic jigoism in making appointments? That has been our problem. We don't lack human resources in this country. We don't. Many of them, as a matter of fact, has fled out of this country because we have not enabling environment for them to execute and to manifest their talent in their core areas. So, if you look at what transpired and what brought about the election of the president-elect today, every one of us will be afraid, because politics was at the zenith of manifesting the business aspect, where people invest and they are expecting. So if somebody who bought 5 private jets, for example, for the campaign of the president-elect said, I need the Minister of Power, Housing, and Works, and even Transport, and name 5 juicy ministries. What are you going to do? And if such person said, I want the Minister of the Economy, or Minister of Finance, as it were, so that they can determine and decide how subsidy will be sustained, and what have you, what do? So it still boils down to how much does how much courage and political will does the president have to make appointment irrespective of the political affiliation, or whether or not such person contributed, or such region contributed to his election.
Okay.
If that is gotten well and right, my brother, he has succeeded 50% in his administration. We will see a situation like what we had during the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo. Obasanjo made one of the greatest and the best appointments and discoveries of Nigerians we had. We had the likes of Okonjo-Iweala, was retrieved from World Bank, and they brought her. She never contributed politically to his administration. We have the likes of Adesina. These persons were discovered in his time, and even in the time of Jonathan. So will appointment be made on the ground of competence, character, and capacity, or appointment will be made on the ground of political compensation? That is what will determine all of this. And the boss stops at the court of Mr. President, because Nigerians have the materials. Okay. It is for him to deploy the right way and the people.
Okay, we'll take a short break. Just have one of our panelists join this conversation, Professor Anthony Ejewere from Madonna University, in a moment, and then we'll bring this segment of the show to a close before we link up to Abuja Network Studio. But let's quickly take a short break. We'll be back with you on the show.